Welcome to Follow the Content Leaders, a podcast where we will learn how leaders, entrepreneurs, CEOs, coaches, and consultants use their content in their business strategies. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm here today joined with Ray Slater Berry. He is the founder of DSLX, Creating Content That Bites. So, welcome to the Follow the Content podcast. The first thing I wanted to ask you today is how has content impacted your life, or creating content has impacted your life?
Yeah, thanks. It's a great question. Happy to be here. Thank you. I think content has really helped me tell stories. I've always wanted to be able to tell stories. It's something, even when I was a kid, as soon as I could pick up a pencil, I was writing stories. When I was younger, I wanted to be a director of films. So for me, content is the modern way of being able to do this storytelling that I've always wanted to do. And it's first, it fell into social media, telling short snippets of stories. And now it's via my agency, and it's a lot of blog content and brand stories. So I'm enjoying the process of doing that.
That's great. Another thing I always like to ask my interviewed people is what is it that you cannot work without in your office? So the one thing that you need to get in the flow of working.
Well, this beast is always next to me, my giant water bottle that lasts throughout the entire day. So I think I always have my emotional support water bottle and probably a good pair of headphones as well, which are always next to me, my sound cancelling headphones. Are the two things I can never live without. And I would say the last thing is probably a pen and paper, a notepad. I always write things down, and my notebook is packed with to-do lists, and that's all I use it for. But I find it the most satisfying thing ever. So those are my three things I can't live without.
Cool. And the noise canceling headphones, is it because you like to work in silence, or do you listen to music while you're working?
Yeah, I listen to deep flow playlists.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll either make them or I'll either find them on Spotify. I also have subscribed to Headspace, and they've got some really lovely deep flow music playlists. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to music, and I like to listen to music that doesn't have words and is continuous. And my two things I'll need, because I need it to just keep me pulled in to focus.
Yes, I'm exactly the same actually. The only music I can listen to is either instrumental without words, because otherwise I keep singing in my head and I
Yeah.
get distracted, or then like really hard techno, but that's more for when I'm doing administrative or management tasks that I'm more like executing.
I haven't tried techno. I have done music in different languages that I definitely don't understand, and I find that that
Mm.
kind of has the same effect, and that can be quite nice as well, because you're just transported to another country, and you can kind of zone out the words, and but it gives you that kind of vibe. So yeah, definitely like music in another language is great too.
Interesting. I'll
Mm,
try that out.
yeah.
And just for a bit of context, what is it that your company do? What is it that you do? You can explain to us a bit those
Yeah,
details.
sure. So DSLX is a B2B SaaS content agency. We create content for SaaS brands, and we basically build out their blog hubs. Notoriously, that's via SEO, but we do a lot of thought leadership content, a lot of ghostwriting for C-suite members of staff, and we also manage a lot of LinkedIn profiles as well, be that business pages or C-suite members of staff's personal LinkedIn pages as well. So we help brands to tell their stories and communicate their purpose with readers, I would say.
That's great. And because sometimes it's curious how companies that actually create content or help others create content don't use content in their own strategies.
Mm.
Was that your case, or did you use content to create your whole brand and your current business?
It's that's so funny because I always feel the same whenever I go into a hairdresser's or a barber's. I always feel like the hairdresser or the barber never looks after their own hair, but was
Hmm.
always doing everyone else's. And I feel like that is often the case for a lot of businesses, that they don't practice what they preach because they don't have the time and they don't give themselves the space or the same care that they give their clients or their customers. So
Hmm.
DSLX, we do it a lot. We tell stories a lot. I'm the biggest voice of the company, I would say. So my LinkedIn page is a lot of our storytelling and our journey, and um, allowing people to understand DSLX's journey and what we stand for. But we also have a blog that we really have put a big focus on. We've just gone through a big rebrand, and I feel that now DSLX is really, you can really understand the look and feel and mission of DSLX via the website today. And
Hmm.
on the DSLX blog, we really champion writers. We really put their bio at the front and center. We have little writers' badges for all of these writers. And we've just shifted to first person content as well. So we're no longer saying we DSLX, we're saying Armin, for example, who's one of our writers, I, the writer, have gone through this experience. So I'm really
Hmm.
trying for us to push storytelling in our own unique way. And for me, that's coming from our people, and giving our people the voice, rather than this brand that is not actually a thing. It's the people behind the
Hmm.
brand that are able to share the real stories. So that's what I'm trying to focus on.
Yeah, of course. That's great. You mentioned LinkedIn and you mentioned your blog. Would you
Mm.
say those are the two main channels that you share stories and publish this mission of the SLX? Do you have other channels too?
Yeah, I think it's a fine line between personal and professional, when so much of your personal is your professional. I'm a founder, and I can't help but have that like seep into my personal life. So my Instagram and my TikTok do end up sharing stories of my everyday, because my everyday is my business. So I share my journey in a more unprofessional way, let's say, on Instagram and TikTok. Um, Not like office ready, but
Mm-hmm.
potentially more relatable. So what I'm trying to do is take more of that relatableness that I have from those more private channels and thread that into the DSLX blog and the more professional channels like LinkedIn. I think that's the code that I'm trying to crack at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. And you also mentioned that you are the main voice of the company just because you are the founder. But
Yeah.
um, are you creating your own content? Which part of that process are you enjoying the most?
I enjoy writing. I love writing. And I love that, especially now, LinkedIn is championing plain text posts, because that is just a dream for me. I don't enjoy editing videos or creating videos. And I feel like any founder or any small business owner today has to be a certain level of video editor and content creator in that respect. And I really don't enjoy that. So TikTok and Instagram get a lot less attention, even though I know they have a much greater opportunity to go viral. But I just don't enjoy that because I'm not good at it. And I've tried to outsource it before, and it's something that's so close to home that it's hard to outsource. It's hard to let go of. It doesn't feel personal enough if I have someone else editing my videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy the writing side of things and the plain text side of things. That's why I enjoy the blogs and the LinkedIn posts. I don't enjoy the video creation just because it's so finickety, trying to get something perfect.
Yeah. And you've mentioned you enjoyed the writing then and the
Yeah.
storytelling part of creating content. Why would you say, or what makes you enjoy that, right? What does it make you feel? How does it impact you when you're doing it?
I'm not sure. I'm dyslexic and I have a very visual mind. And I think to be able to just communicate what's going on up here with someone else, and see someone else experience the same emotions that I had when I was writing allows me to, and in turn allows me to connect with them even better. So I guess I really enjoy the connection that it builds at the end of the day. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
being able to translate this into a language that someone else can then have that same feeling either here or in their heart. And I enjoy bringing someone to that level where I feel like I can really relate to them. Um, that's probably what it is building a connection. And that translation of emotions and feelings is what I love to see.
That's beautiful what you just say.
I
I
never thought
enjoy
about
it.
that. It's a great question. I was like, what is that? But that is what it is. Yeah.
Cool. And we've spoken a bit where you're creating content, both more personally, more professionally. And now I'd like to know also where do you enjoy consuming content? Because sometimes we create in one platform, but we are actually consuming somewhere else. Is that the case? Where what do you enjoy?
I'm loving LinkedIn at the moment. I love because it's plain text. I love that so many people are also able to access publishing content because plain text is in some respects the lowest lift. We're not all video editors, but we can all formulate sentences and put something out there. So I love how accessible LinkedIn is at the moment, and I love going to that platform to consume content. I've kind of got sick of Instagram and TikTok for the sheer mindlessness of it all. It's very easy watching, but I don't always want easy watching, and I sometimes get frustrated with how much pressure there is on the platform around buying things, and it's very materialistic, and it seems like every single video that I watch is I bought this or I got this, or it's linked to my storefront, and um, I'm not really a fan of that. So I am enjoying LinkedIn because people aren't pushing me to buy off the shelf products all the time. Maybe they're pushing me to buy their SaaS product, but it's a lot less, right? And it just feels like it's a genuinely good place to um, hear other people's experiences. And other social media platforms don't really have that authenticity to them. There's normally a "we want you to buy" behind it. And then I'm also a big fiction reader. I love books. I have a small mini library above me here, and I read maybe a book every 2 months. I'm quite a slow reader, but I always have a book on the go.
What are you reading at the moment?
Now I'm big on World War II books, going through a bit of a phase. And the one I'm reading at the moment is The Girl Who Escaped Auschwitz, which is based on a true story. And it's kind of weird because all of these books have been written by different authors, but they've all been based on real records of that time. So you will see people, because they are based on real people and they mostly keep names the same, you will see them drift into the life of someone else within the camp and drift out. And then you'll pick up another book and it will be about that person. So it's crazy. Like, you get to understand all of these different lives that happened at the same time. And they literally just pass each other like ships in the night in a book. But then you read another book by another author and you learn about that entire person's life. So I'm kind of really into learning about history in this way because I never enjoyed how it was taught in school. But I think in reading fiction, I'm really into it, and I'm really into the learning process of it. So I actually want to do a trip to Poland this year and understand it more. But I am, yeah, World War II at the moment. They're going through this
Nice.
phase.
It almost sounds like fiction when you're describing it to me, like how the two books are based in different stories, but they're real stories, but then the characters actually met. It sounds like it's a made up story when actually it's just
Yeah.
the reality, right?
It's a reality, and it's because there's very limited documentation from the camps. So a lot of the authors are either going off of real accounts from people that they've met in real life, like the survivors, or they're going off
Mm-hmm.
documentation that's available to them. So all of the information is the same, but authors are focusing on different people's stories. So it's all very accurate. And you'll see these names floating across books, and you just know them from another book from another author. It's really interesting.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now let's go back a bit to the content
yeah,
because we've diverted into World
yeah.
War II. Um, just you spoke about the part that you enjoy of creating content. So I guess that you are doing everything internally by yourself, or do you have any external help helping you maybe with the editing, as you mentioned? That's something that maybe you don't enjoy so much. How do you structure your creation process at the moment?
Yeah, I have a small team. I think we are 5 full-time members. So, and we work with probably 12 or so freelancers that are
Mm-hmm.
either writers, editors, web designers, graphic designers, SEOs, um, video editors as well. So we work with like a real wealth of talent, and I'm a big believer of picking your battles and knowing that, okay, this is what I'm good at. What am I not good at? Okay, if I'm not good at something else, let's hire someone
Mm-hmm.
to fill that gap, fill that knowledge gap. So I tend to enjoy writing. I'll get someone else to help me with the brief, help me with the outline, help me with the editing, help me with the uploading. And I just do the part that I love. And I want other people in my business to just do the part that they love. And hopefully
Mm-hmm.
we can find all the people that can do all the parts to a finished product.
Yeah, that's great. I think managing your energy and focusing it in those tasks that you can excel at, it's super helpful to then make sure that you're investing it into something that's bringing you back the results.
Mm, definitely.
So you do have some people already helping you. Which are the qualities that you look on those people when you decide to bring them on board, or the ones that you already have helping you? Which are the qualities that made you take them on board into your team to help you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There are a couple of things. One, there has to be a technical fit first and foremost. We have to know that they can do the role, that they have the skill set or the talent to do the role, um, or that they just have the core foundations that I know that I can train them to do the role even better. But they have to have that, either that core interest, that talent, or that skill set. That's number one. Number two is a connection with the mission and vision of DSLX. It's I'm really strong on this.
Mm-hmm.
We DSLX was started to empower dyslexic and minority group writers to write, and a big part of what we do is championing the writer and lifting freelance writers within minority groups. I really DSLX would not be what it is today or where it is today if we didn't have this mission and vision. So someone that comes to the company to potentially work for us full time needs to be passionate about that as well. That is the core on what we all relate on. It is not that we like writing. It is not that we love B2B SaaS. It is not that we want to be remote workers.
Mm-hmm.
We feel passionate about the mission and vision. And that is the biggest driver for me in any new hire that I'm going to bring on. And then third would be a team player attitude. My business is really small. You can't hide like you can in a big corporate. There's no pointing fingers. There's no levels of approval to go through. We just have to get it done. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone that joins needs to have that team player attitude of let's just throw our hat into the ring and figure this out together. I never want someone in my business to be like, that's not my That's not my role. That's not what I was hired to do. We all wear a lot of hats, and that's just how a small business needs to work. Like, we don't have any funding, we don't have investors. We just need to figure it out with the resources that we have. So when I look to hire someone, I need someone that is like all in that respect and is just willing to give it a try. I don't mind if you mess it up at all, but give it your best shot. Because a lot of the times there's no other option. We don't have anyone else that we can lean on other than this core team. So that's a big thing for me as well.
I love this mentality. I agree that the three qualities you just mentioned are much more important than any university certified title or anything that can qualify you for a job. Personally, having worked for a long time in law firms, which are complete opposite to any of the values you just explained, I feel completely like, yes, please, more companies like this in the market, because
Yeah.
that's when they actually work. And
Yeah.
then also I checked your website, etc., and I saw you have a writers academy. So maybe you could
Yeah.
tell us a bit more about that, and how do you help people with that? What have you seen are their biggest struggles?
I'm so pleased you asked, because I love this. The Writers Academy was birthed from that whole idea of that we champion the writer and we want to lift the writers up. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, I also get freelance writers, maybe two or three adding me every day on LinkedIn. And that sometimes I say, oh, Ray, like, I would love your advice. Ray, I would love to get some feedback on, Ray, can you take a look at this article for me? Do you have a job? Do you have work? I get so many requests, and I've never been able to give something back to them. And I've never been able to like deliver on all of them. And I would never want to promise someone I could do something when I just wouldn't have the time. So the Writers Academy was born from that idea and the fact that we are a team of writers out there writing right now. We have our finger on the pulse. We know exactly what brands are doing and what they're not. We know what companies are looking for and what they're not. So why don't we educate other freelance writers with the information that we have? So
Mm-hmm.
we've created the SLX Academy, and right now it has, I think, 2 courses in there. It was launched this year. We're releasing 1 course a month. I'm releasing 1 yoga class a week. I'm also a yoga qualified yoga instructor, so I'm doing yoga
Mm-hmm.
classes for writers, and we're doing a lot of downloadables. And every writer in the academy gets a one-to-one 30-minute session with someone from the DSLX team once a month. So the academy is like a remote learning resource hub with real resources that are made on the fly because we see a need for them right now. And it's a $14 a month subscription. Like, I did not want to charge the moon and back because I wanted it to be as accessible as possible. We don't make money on the academy. Like, I think we have just broke even on the academy, but it was never going to be a moneymaker for me, at least right away. What I want it to be is to be able to lift up the freelance community so that in turn the demand for freelance writing work is higher. Clients are willing to pay more because writers are able to offer more. And I want it to be a support for the entire industry of writing for B2B SaaS.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that to be as accessible as possible. And then it's fantastic because I have writers then in the academy that they have gone through training materials that my team has gone through. Like, our team has to go through every academy course before it goes live. So they are
Mm-hmm.
valuable training resources for my team that I then sell to other freelance writers. And then I know that every freelance writer in there, I can have a view on the courses that they've done. And I know, okay, this freelance writer has done this course, this course, this course. I'm going to read some of their work. Great. I have an opportunity and I know that this writer now writes how we need them to write. So it's fantastic because it also ends up being a HR tool for me. Like, I have a
Of course.
recruitment strategy here, and I have a hub of writers that are educated under DSLX, and I can go, oh, are you guys looking for work? Like, I have a perfect fit gig that would fit your profile, and I know that you have studied X, Y, and Z courses. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so actually, then writers from the academy, they earn a badge, and when they publish work on our website, every writer has different badges depending on the courses that they'll have completed in the academy. So I'm kind of gamifying it as well in that sense. So yeah, I'm really really excited about the academy. It's very new, like a couple of months old. So I'm excited for what it is, the idea that it is, and where it's going to go.
Yeah, it sounds like an amazing project. So, congratulations on
Thank
having
you.
launched it and making break even and all the flow having been optimized.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's weird because it's a subscription model, and so this is the first time I've been in this offering a subscription. I've
Mm-hmm.
written for these companies for so long. I know all the metrics. I know the whole lingo in the world, but I've never actually offered something. So I'm kind of like reading back through my old articles, thinking, okay, this is how it works. Now you're doing it, Ray. So figure it out.
You're going in with all the knowledge, so that's
Yeah,
great.
that's true. That's true.
Awesome. And then just one last question to finish. I always like to ask the persons I interview, what is the book that has had the biggest impact in your life?
Mm. One always jumps to mind, and I do still think it's the book that had the biggest impact because it got me into reading. And I would say it's Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman. I think I
Mm-hmm.
read it when I was maybe 11 or 12. Um, and it's a book on race, and the noughts are one race and the crosses are the other race. I think it's a trilogy actually. And someone from the noughts falls in love with someone from the crosses, and they're just not supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
together. And I think that it's always stuck with me. One, for the story and for the learning of it, but two, because it really taught me like what good writing is, and it pulled me in. I think
Mm-hmm.
Noughts and Crosses for me was the first book where I was able to imagine, and my mind was imagining things, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really there, and it really took me somewhere, and it opened my eyes to the power of words and what a good story can do to someone. So I think that book, for that reason, reading it at that time in my life, is the book that changed my life, because from after that I was a reader and I was addicted, and I burn through books so quickly, and I still do. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely Mallory Blackman, Noughts and Crosses, always stick with me.
Cool.
Yeah,
So thank you so much for having joined me in this interview, and I hope to see you again sometime.
a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye, Monica.